Bonjour, it's French Wendy, and this is lesson 1 of brand new beginner French. The assumption is that you have not ever had French before, or it's been a really long time and you want to start from the very beginning because that's where we're starting. First of all, let's start with that word, bonjour. Several ways to say hello in French, just like there are several ways to say hello in English. Notice at the end that R is a R sound, a little bit of a almost like you're clearing your throat. Bonjour. Try it. Bonjour. It's not bone. We're not talking about parts of your body. It's not bon. It looks like bon, B-O-N, but you have to learn how to pronounce it the way the French pronounce it. That's bonjour. A kind of nasal N. It's not quite that N sound, and jour at the end. I'm going to constantly be prompting you to repeat. And the way you say repeat in French is répéter, répéter. All of the syllables rhyme. The first syllable has that guttural R in it. Try it. Répéter. Bonjour. Excellent. The more you repeat, the more you train your brain, the more you train your mouth and your tongue and your teeth to be positioned the right way to pronounce it well. It doesn't have to be pronounced perfectly. Nobody has to mistake you for a native French speaker. They just have to understand you, and you just have to understand them. That's the goal usually of learning a language, is communication. Speaking of understanding them, the more you repeat the word out loud, the more your ears are going to be trained to hear it. So not only is it good practice, but it's also a great way to practice, good practice by yourself, but it's also a great way to practice understanding what people are saying to you. And the closer you can come to pronouncing it well, not necessarily perfectly, the better you're going to be understood and the more easily you're going to understand. I also said bienvenue. Répétez, bienvenue. And that means welcome. So in this lesson, we're going to learn how to say hello, how to say goodbye, how to ask someone's name, and also how to ask what somebody is doing. Here are a few ways of saying hello. The first one is a great one because it means both hello and goodbye, so it's super helpful. And that's salut. Répétez, salut. That U sound, I call it kind of a tight U sound, is formed, well, my 7th grade French teacher helped us pronounce it. I remember this to this day, only several years ago. You pronounce that U sound by saying E and pursing your lips. So try it. E, E, E. Salut, répétez. That means both hello and goodbye. Bonjour, which we've already gone over, répétez, means hello. What's the difference? Salut is a little bit more casual. It's a little bit more like hi, as opposed to bonjour, which is a little bit more like hello. Now, you know, in English, in either case, you could be really good friends with someone, see them all the time, have a very casual relationship with them, and say hello. So it's not as if you must say bonjour in formal settings and you must say salut when it's more casual. It's just the difference between hi and hello, which is really not much. So we've got salut, hi, and also goodbye. Bonjour, which is hello, and then one other. When it's evening, you might want to say good evening, and that's bonsoir. Répétez, bonsoir. Notice there's that heureux at the end also. Here are a couple of different ways of saying goodbye. First, you've got a word, a phrase that you've probably heard if you are on planet Earth, au revoir. You might hear that pronounced au revoir. You will be understood, but you may not recognize it as quickly if you're not pronouncing it a little bit more, closely to the way, a little bit more closer. Can't speak English, but I can speak French. A little bit closer to the way you should be pronouncing it. So it's au, that's 3 syllables actually. Au, a little bit of that sound, au revoir. Almost like the last part of it is spelled with a VW, voir, voir. Au revoir. Répétez a little bit more quickly. Au revoir. That's the generic way of saying goodbye. Another way to say it is à bientôt. À bientôt. That's two words. À means has a lot of meanings. In this case, it could kind of loosely be translated to mean until. Bientôt means soon. So until soon. In other words, see you soon. Until the moment when I see you, which is soon-ish. À bientôt. And then finally, à plus tard. A little bit of r in there. À plus tard. That's three words. Again, à, until or to. Plus means more. Tard means late. À plus tard, literally until more late, but basically until later. So let's répéter. I'm going to say the word in French and see if you remember how to say it, what it is in English. So répéter and then try to remember. First we have salut. That's hi. I recommend that you pause this recording to see if you can remember what the answers are in English, and we're going to do it the other way too, from English to French, which is a little bit more difficult. Bonjour, répétez, and what does it mean? That's just hello. Bonsoir, that's good evening. Au revoir, goodbye, the more generic form. À bientôt, see you soon, until soon. À plus tard, see you later, or until later. Let's try it the other way. Not as easy, but it's just great to repeat this and to use these repetition exercises as tools to help you remember. So now we're going from English to French. First, more casual hi. Salut. A little bit more formal, but not necessarily, but hello. Bonjour. And then good evening. Bonsoir. Good. Three different ways to say goodbye. Most generic, goodbye. Au revoir. See you soon. À bientôt. And then see you later. À plus tard. All right, so you can say hello, you can say goodbye. How about what's your name? You're first meeting someone, asking them what their name is. So there are two different ways of saying, there may be a couple of other ways, but primarily two different ways we're going to focus on of saying what's your name. One is an informal and one is formal. Now, for the most part, if you ask someone their name, you probably don't know them very well. But if you are in a very relaxed setting, or likely if you're in Canada, Canada tends to be more informal than French, you can use the informal comment tu t'appelles. Try that. Comment tu t'appelles. It's three words-ish. Répétez. A more formal version is comment vous vous appelez. So there's that sound vous repeated in there. Comment vous vous appelez? Répétez. Those are the informal and the formal ways of saying, what's your name? To respond to that, you say, je m'appelle. So fill your own name in there. Répétez and fill your own name in. Excellent. One more time, I'm going to repeat them and then I'll give you a little test on them. First, comment tu t'appelles? Répétez, which means what's your name? Formal or informal? Informal. Next, comment vous vous appelez? Also, what's your name? Formal or informal? Formal. Finally, je m'appelle. My name is, and then you fill your name in. Let's try it the other way. Can you tell me how to ask someone's name in an informal way? Excellent. Excellent, they say. Comment tu t'appelles? Formal. What's your name? Comment vous vous appelez? And finally, my name is. Je m'appelle Wendy, I would say. All right, lots of vocab to build this first initial, relatively basic conversation. Next, so we know how to say hello and goodbye. We know how to say what's your name and my name is. Now we're going to ask how each other is, how each other are. So, how are you, basically? A really common phrase that's used in French to ask how someone's doing or how things are going is ça va. 2 words and they rhyme. Ça va. If you intonate in a questioning tone, ça va, that's loosely translated, things are going well, everything's okay. It's not how are you as in an open-ended how are things in general. It's more a leading question as in things are good. Now, you could certainly have an in-depth conversation of everything going on in your life if somebody says ça va to you, but just know that that question is basically a yes or no question. Things are good, ça va, and you can answer it the same way, but just change the tone. So if someone says ça va in a questioning tone, you can simply say ça va as a response. Another thing you might say, just to add a little bit more emphasis, is ça va bien. Bien is an adverb. An adverb, if you remember from, 6th grade or 8th grade, diagramming sentences is a word that describes a verb. So it's going well. Ça va bien. Now, again, ça va could just mean if you say, oh, ça va, things are good. Ça va bien, things are good, it's going well. Closely related. One is not necessarily much more than the other, but they're both options that are used. You might just say, if someone asks you, ça va? You might just say, très bien. Very well, thanks. It's going well? Yeah, very well. Très bien. 2 words. Très, with that little r in it, means very. And bien means well. Très bien. Répétez. And then another potential response, among many, but here are the few we're going to focus on to not overwhelm too much, is pas mal. Pas mal. Again, 2 words, literally not badly. Things are going well, and you'd say, not badly. Now, if you say not bad in English and not bad in French, nobody really says not badly, even though that's correct. We just say, oh, not bad. Things are going well. Oh, not bad. It depends on the tone, right? So if you say, oh, pas mal, or pas mal, it depends on your tone. So it literally means not bad, and even figuratively means not bad, but it depends on your tone how you interpret that. So let's repeat that. I'll repeat it in French, and you repeat it, répétez, and also think, do I remember what that means? So the first one is ça va? That's a question. Things are good? Ça va bien. Things are going well. Très bien. Very well. The implication being things are going, you could just say very well. Très bien. Répétez, don't forget. And then finally, pas mal. Not bad. Now let's try it from English to French. Things are good? Ça va? Things are going well. Response. Ça va bien. Very well. Très bien. You could even say ça va très bien. You could say très bien or just ça va très bien in response to the question ça va. Finally, not bad. Pas mal. Très bien. So now we're going to have some little mini conversations. And I'm going to pretend that I'm two people. And I strongly encourage you to do the same, to practice being, oh, person A and person B, male voice, female voice, or just two different people having a conversation. If you're working with someone and learning French with someone, of course, engage them in this kind of little mini exercise to help reinforce and really create real conversations that people have with just these several words. So, first, listen and see if you understand. Bonjour. Bonjour. Comment tu t'appelles? Je m'appelle Marie. Ça va? Ça va bien. À bientôt. Au revoir. Did you follow that? So, hello, hello, bonjour, bonjour. Comment tu t'appelles is what's your name? Je m'appelle Marie is my name is Marie. Ça va? Things are okay? Things are going well? Ça va bien. Things are going well. À bientôt. See you soon. Au revoir. Goodbye. That's your conversation. You've got a full-fledged conversation and you are ready to go and meet people, introduce yourself, and ask how they're doing. I strongly encourage you to look at the materials on the website to supplement this so you can see what the words look like. It's not necessary, but it's great if you have that as an extra sense that is taking this in. So you've got your brain that's thinking it, you've got your ears that are hearing it, you've got your mouth and your tongue that are forming the words, and then you've also got your eyes that are seeing the words. Not necessary, but it will probably help you in the long run. Bon français et bonne journée.